Wick refused to kill him. Along with the Continental forces, they made a stand against Zero and all of the people that the High Table sent after them. After besting them, the adjudicator offered a parlay to Winston, and then he shot Wick, which sent him over the edge of the hotel. Wick was secretly delivered to the Bowery King, and together the two decided to team up against the High Table and all its organization. And that takes us into chapter 4, in which we followed the man who killed 3 people with a f***ing pencil. And the movie begins with John Wick killing the Elder's replacement, who tells him that the only way he will find peace is in death. This very much foreshadows the events of the ending, and it also explains why John has to participate in a duel. The High Table is described as being like a Hydra, that if you cut off one head, another one will appear. Just in the same way that the Elder's been replaced, all of the members of the High Table can be as well, and thus John will run out of bullets before they run out of heads. The movie, in a way, is very much about redemption and diverting the fate that's being given to him. John is said to be someone who brings death to everything that he touches, but in the end he gives Kane a new life along with his daughter. This is a similar sort of thing to what Sophia had in the 3rd film, and in that we discover that she too had a daughter that she couldn't have a life with due to the demands of the High Table. John sees firsthand how much this quest for revenge is killing his friends, and in the end he realizes that it all stops if he passes away, which we see happen in the final few scenes. I will be talking about whether I think the character is actually dead or not later on, but there's a lot going on in the movie that I think we have to talk about first to give context to those final few scenes. And there's a lot to discuss in both terms of symbolism and metaphor. The John Wick series has always been laced with the idea of mythology, and this is seen in every single film. Caron pulls from ancient mythology, Wick pulled rosary beads out of a book at the start of 3, Dante's Inferno was mentioned, and Winston was given 7 days to get his affairs in order. John himself is based on John the Baptist, and a baptism is very much seen as a cleansing in which past sins are forgotten. There's also the idea that he goes on a sort of Jesus journey throughout the 4 films, with the first being his birth or rebirth after he's found a new life. The second is his ascension, the 3rd culminates with his apparent death, and the 4th deals with his resurrection before he finally passes away after having become a saviour figure. He also has his disciples too, like his servant Winston, and even though Lawrence Fishburne dresses like the pigeon lady from Home Alone 2, he is seen as a king. Kane is a really interesting villain too. Also, that ending, John Kane got out of the life, but he had to give up his eyes in order to do this. Once the High Table threaten his daughter though, he's pulled back into it, and symbolically he blindly follows the High Table's orders without question. Similar how Kane here kills his quote-unquote brother Shimazu. Now John's deeds haven't gone unpunished, and early on we see Winston being summoned to the Marquis, played by Bill Skarsgård. The Continental is destroyed, and Caron is shot dead because the Marquis doesn't want Winston to become a martyr. The High Table control the world through rules and regulations, however John is in affront of this because he refuses to follow them. Therefore, the Marquis very much wants to destroy the idea of John Wick. He does this by killing all those who aid and help him. Now watching Lance Reddick's character get killed early on hits differently, and as I'm sure you know, the actor unfortunately passed away last week. I can't imagine what it was like for the creative team seeing that happen and then having to promote this movie and watch it back seeing him die at the start. Just be very surreal, I imagine, sitting in the cinema watching this play out, especially when you knew the guy, and it adds a real layer of sadness to the film. The movie actually ends with a line dedicating it to him, and yeah, it is quite tragic seeing this all play out on screen. Anyway, this idea of all those helping out getting harmed is reflected in the Osaka Continental, which is attacked by the High Table for aiding John. The henchmen here did kind of crack me up a bit, and when they were introduced, I felt like it was that scene from Dodgeball. Anyway, Wick manages to make it out of there, but the attack is not without its casualties. Akira swears to get revenge on her father's killer Kane, and this very much plays in the post-credits scene with my girl Rena. She did think that John was a bad friend. Like the video, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on the film.